In this video, we'll run through every set in the LEGO Star Wars theme that is expected to retire in 2025. All of these sets are expected to retire somewhere around the end of this year, so with that said, this list is intended to help you budget for what sets you might pick up now versus later. Without further ado, let's get into the list. We'll start off by focusing on sets that you can probably buy later, or not at all. Based on other similar sets, I don't expect these next 6 to grow in value much more once they're retired. First on our list is the Bark Speeder Escape. Mando sets are not really performing that well. Most are in the red, and the subject matter with this set, the minifigs, not a major draw despite the cool story around Keller and Beck. I just don't think there's going to be a major draw to this set that puts it over top of other Mando sets in the category. Next up is Paz Vizsla and Moff Gideon Battle. Similar to the last set we looked at with Mandalorian sets not really performing all that well. There's more interesting subject matter here with some better exclusive figures, but still I don't think they're going to get over that Mandalorian slump in terms of performance. Next up, we have the most Espa pod race diorama. I think the community has spoken on this one. They're saying no thanks for these dioramas. Most of these other prior sets are in the red, and there's really no other figures to carry this set in the aftermarket. So for that reason and many others, I would consider this a buy later or buy never. Okay, next we have the Crimson Firehawk as a 4-and-up set. There's only one other Young Jedi Adventure set in that's retired, and that's in the deep red. There are some fun exclusive figures in here, but it might take a long time for these to appreciate in value, and for that reason, I would consider skipping these. Next up on our list, we have the Luke Skywalker X-Wing mech. Mechs in general in the deep red across the sub-theme, not performing very well in the aftermarket. These are at a lower price point as well, so they're hard to recoup reseller and shipping fees, so I would probably avoid it for that reason alone, but the sub-theme not performing well is just another reason to skip. And last in the buy later category, or buy never, is the Star Wars Advent Calendar for 2025. This calendar is not even out yet as of the making of this video, but as soon as it does release, these Advent Calendars are notoriously poor performers, apart from a few standout figures that have carried specific sets in previous years. Looking at this year, there's really no super great exclusives that we're going to get, so this is probably the easiest set to pass on in my opinion. Now that we've touched on all the sets that you can hold off on, I want to switch gears to sets that are somewhere between a buy later and a buy now. In other words, I'm on the fence about whether or not you should run out and grab these next 12 sets immediately or let them sit in the aftermarket and cook for a little while. First up in this category of on the fence is the Razor Crest. This is similar Ultimate Collector Series Master Builder sets. Perform well, around 5 to 10% compound annual growth rate, but this one kind of suffers from that Mandalorian theming. Those sets have really not done very well. All of them are in the red, including the smaller scale Razor Crest. For that reason, I'm pretty on the fence about whether or not I would recommend picking this one up. Next up, we have the X-Wing Starfighter, another Ultimate Collector Series set. There's 2 other Ultimate Collector Series X-Wings in the aftermarket already, setting around 3 to 9% compound annual growth rate. This is a big gamble for me to put on such a big set. There's already others in the market that are performing okay. It's not a huge payoff, so I'd probably either skip this one, or if you really wanted it, grab it, but I think this one is going to be fairly safe to skip on. Okay, we're moving into some Ahsoka sets. We have Ghost and Phantom 2. There's only one other Ahsoka set to use as a reference, and that is in the deep red at the moment. If you factor in some Rebel sets, it's a much rosier picture. I'm not sure if it'll share that kind of aura from the Rebel sets. There's a lot of similar characters, a lot of similar ships. There's no super enticing exclusive figures in this set in particular. I think you're actually more interested in the ships in this case, but again, that's why I kind of stay on the fence. I don't have a lot of prior data to go off of, and it would be more of a gamble on this set and the next 2 we'll talk about. So talking about those next 2, the next one up is Ahsoka Tano's T6 Jedi Shuttle. Really the same as we just mentioned, slightly better exclusive figures here, but again, I'm still really on the fence about these Ahsoka sets. And that remains true for Ahsoka Tano's duel on Peridea, or Peridea. Really same as we just mentioned. Much better exclusive figures here though. If I had to make a bet on one of these, I would put my money here and pick this one with the really great exclusive figures. Okay, moving into another Star Wars universe show, we're going to look at the Onyx Cinder. This is from the Skeleton Crew show, which I think was fairly liked, but not insanely popular in the Star Wars universe. There's really no good list of priors to go off of. It's a completely one-off set. There's the other live action TV sets are really not performing well, so if I lump it in with those, it's not a great picture. There are very exclusive figures in this set, potentially some that we'll never see again, and potentially some favorites like Neil and KB. I think those are pretty cool figures and pretty recognizable from the show, but again, that's a pretty big gamble on a relatively unknown property. Next up, we have Tantive 4. There's middling performance from other Tantive 4 sets. There's a decent amount in the aftermarket that we can look at for reference. They're around 5% compound annual growth rate. Again, not bad. There's no minifigures though in this one, and it's pretty overpriced for what you're getting, in my opinion. So for that reason, I'm kind of on the fence about it. Next up, similar to Tantive 4, we have boarding the Tantive 4, and pretty much all of the same notes from my previous comments on Tantive 4. Same love for the property and kind of that middling performance for episode 4 content. There's better minifigure assortment here. There's any minifigure assortment. Plus, you have the 25th Anniversary 5s figure. He's currently trading around $12, so that could carry the set a bit. But again, I would just kind of hold off on this one until we see some aftermarket performance. Next up, we have the Invisible Hand, similar to above, the Tantive 4 that we were just talking about, but slightly better chances on this one with Clone Wars era tie-in. Really don't have a lot to go off of with this set in particular, so I'm kind of leaving it right in the middle here as, a hard maybe. Next up, we have Droideka. It's episode 1, has some pretty solid performance when you just look at episode 1. Buildable figures and Technic figures are a mixed bag. Some perform well, some do not. It's really hard to find a common theme throughout on which sets really perform better than others. You do get a bonus 25 years of LEGO Star Wars branding all over this set, but other than that, I don't think it will really have a broad appeal and do super well in the aftermarket. Next up, staying along the droid theme, we have the Creative Play Droid Builder. This is a very unique set, not a lot of priors to compare. It could be a sleeper, not many people paying attention to it. There's the exclusive that comes with it with the young Leia. She's currently trading at $36, so that's a pretty interesting draw. So if I were to pick up one of these, or I saw one as a sleeper, this is the one that I would probably look at potentially picking up. It's just a set that not many people are paying attention to, especially with that young Leia figure and how well she's trading currently. And last on the fence group, or kind of in the middle, or a group of maybes, is the TIE Fighter and X-Wing mashup. Again, pretty unique set, not a lot of priors. This is kind of a new concept for LEGO and LEGO Star Wars. Could be a sleeper. There's some unique figures, but really no household names to mention. So I'm definitely on the fence when it comes to this set. All right, so finally, let's look at the top 5 sets I think you should absolutely buy before the end of the year, assuming they're interesting to you or you're trying to build out your investing portfolio with some Star Wars sets. So first up, we have the Imperial Dropship versus Rebel Scout Speeder. Similar Episode 4 and miscellaneous sets featuring Rebel Scouts have performed pretty well, around 10% compound annual growth rate. There's the additional bonus of this being a 25 years of LEGO Star Wars anniversary set, so you get an astromech, you get QT, KT, which is cool. It's probably the one and only time you'll get that figure. Pretty neat draw, pretty unique figure. So for that reason, I think it'll perform similarly, around like 10%, potentially even more with that exclusive fig. Next up, we have Darth Vader's helmet. The helmet collection has been a hit, or in some cases, and a miss in others, but a lot of high performers. That's why I like the look of this set. If it's anything like the promotional Darth Vader helmet that came along a few years ago, I would expect pretty high performance, like 10% annual growth rate, even higher than that. And this is really the most iconic Star Wars helmet you can get, or that's out there. So if any of these are going to perform well, I would put my bet on Darth Vader. Next up, we have the Coruscant guard ship. This is Clone Wars, Episode 2, Episode 3. All this stuff are really high performance. This is some of the best performing stuff in the Star Wars lineup in terms of sub-themes. There's not a single set in the red when you look at this grouping of products, so it's a pretty safe bet in my mind. There's 3 exclusive figures in this as a bonus, so for that reason, I would put this pretty high on my list of sets to pick up. Fourth on our list here, we're about to round this out, Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator. Episode 1 performance, pretty solid. There's 4 other Sith Infiltrators, all above 5% compound annual growth rate. This one might be a little bit weaker in terms of the Sith Infiltrator, but you do get a very nice Saw Gerrera bonus figure in here that could really help it climb to the top. He's already selling for around $30 kind of on the side as just a figure, so I think he will certainly boost the performance of this set in the aftermarket. And last up, we have the Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit. This is Episode 6. Episode 6 performance is pretty solid, around 8% compound annual growth rate. Very few in the red, so this sub-theme seems to do pretty well. There's 2 other Skiff/Sarlacc Pit sets already around both, kind of sitting around 9% compound annual growth rate. The price point on this set is rather high, but you do get the exclusive Nien Nunb figure, so it's the first time that he's ever been made in LEGO officially. And I think that will kind of make up for it. He's currently trading at $20, so maybe on the lower end of my list of buy nows, but I think it's still a pretty solid buy, given all the past performance of similar sets and also that exclusive figure. So that's our list. Every LEGO Star Wars set expected to retire in 2025, and whether or not you should buy it now, kind of wait on the fence, or buy it in after it's retired, or hold off altogether. Was this information helpful? If so, please let us know down in the comments. We try to respond to every comment that comes through. And please remember to subscribe to see future content like this show up in your feed. Thanks for watching, and see you again next time.